Today is the day where I prove my dad wrong. All the hours I spent watching Karate Kid on repeat over and over has finally come in handy. Concentrate, focus, power, wax on, wax off.
Wax on, wax off.
Approximately 7 months ago, Ford introduced us to this. This is the Ford Maverick Lobo, but a lot of enthusiasts, car enthusiasts, Maverick enthusiasts of the small truck world were slightly disappointed with this launch because everyone wanted the same thing, a Maverick ST, but they gave us a Maverick ST in a bite-sized piece introducing the said Lobo. Now, no one's driven one yet, but with the specs that they introduced to us, it doesn't seem like it's going to be all that exciting.
Ford has been doing a fantastic job of continuing to keep us car enthusiasts excited and happy with what they've been releasing. So when the Lobo was introduced, we all expected a bigger EcoBoost, bigger turbos, more performance numbers, and the reality is we didn't get any of that. And you're not going to be able to appreciate what the Lobo has to offer until you get behind the wheel. There's something truly incredible about that car that is just unsuspecting. Maybe it's not the fastest in a straight line, but you throw it into a corner and it becomes addicting. You think about a Mini Cooper or a Mazda Miata or even a Fiat 500 Abarth, and those are really fun cars. I never would have thought when I'm talking about a fun car around a corner, I'd be talking about a Ford Maverick.
Hello everybody and welcome to Performance on Wheels. My name is Austin. My dad Todd and I, we make all types of different car videos on all types of different cars. Today we check out the all-new 2025 Ford Maverick Lobo. I need to give a huge shout out to Apple Autos for supplying the Lobo that is used in today's video. If you're interested in purchasing it, be sure to check out the link down in the description below, as it is currently available here in Apple Valley, Minnesota. At first glance, you would think the Maverick Lobo is nothing but a cosmetic appearance package, but I would not be complaining even if it was, because we finally have fog lights, standard, painted front bumper, side skirts, and rear bumper, all standard, as well as blind spot assist and painted mirrors, standard, giving this thing the best look out of any Maverick yet, with also a specialty front fascia. It looks really good. This thing has a great stance to it, a great look to it. I'm usually a massive fan of these wheels as well. However, the black on black, it's not it for me. It's too much.
Austin, the reason this thing looks so good is it's car enthusiasts that actually designed it. Whether you're talking about the inside or the outside, true enthusiasts. Josh Blundo, I'm sorry if that pronunciation is incorrect. Anyways, he came onto the scene. He saw the Maverick as he entered the design team, and he was immediately brought back to kind of his childhood with the sport truck scene, and he immediately started drafting some fun concepts of what the Maverick could look like. When they got the green light to actually put the Lobo into production, that's when things got pretty wild. Not only is this a cosmetic upgrade, both on the inside and outside, there are some goodies that we're going to talk about. Talking about the front grille, it's a really valid talking point in 2025. That's because every single trim has a different grille in the Ford Maverick. The Lobo, I believe, stands out more so than any other trim because it has the vertical slats. It really adds to that street truck appearance, giving like a low stance. I love the fact that you go around the side and the option 19-inch turbo fan style wheels. They're really darn cool. When you take a step back, you look at the side of the Maverick, you're going to notice that there's a 0.5-inch lowered suspension up front and a 1.1-inch lowered suspension in the rear. Those dampeners, this is when we start talking about all the borrowed parts that the Lobo has from other fun Ford products. The suspension, they took the dampers out of the Maverick trimmer, they threw some lowering springs in there, and voila, we have about a 0.8-inch lower center of gravity when you're looking at that roof line.
All that stuff is visible, but there's some stuff on the Maverick that's taken from other Ford vehicles that's not visible, such as the steering rack, taken from the overseas Ford Cougar, I believe it is. Cougar.
Yeah.
And it is supposed to give the Maverick a tighter steering feel, which it definitely does. We're going to get into driving impressions here soon. But on top of that, they decided to make this a track-oriented Maverick, so it needed bigger brakes. Unfortunately, Ford decided to not give us the Focus ST here in America, but they still make it overseas. But they took the 2-piston brakes that are out of the Focus ST and put them on the front of this, but they took out the more aggressive pads that are in those and put more of a street compound brake pad inside of the Maverick here. On top of that, they also, you know how we took those dampers out of the Maverick Tremor? We also took the rear end out of the Maverick Tremor. It's not like a true locking diff, but it uses these coil packs to basically lock itself up.
Twin clutch.
Put it inside of, yeah, exactly, a twin clutch. And they put it inside of the Maverick Lobo here, but not in the sense of trying to make this thing go off-road and lock up the rear end. It has something that not a whole lot of vehicles have, torque vectoring, where it actually, when you go into a corner, it'll brake the wheel that's closest to going in. So if you're turning left, it'll brake your front left wheel, but change the torque that's going to your rear wheel. So like slow down your inner wheel, but speed up your outer wheel. It's a crazy experience, and they did such a good job executing it on the Maverick here. So much better than I ever would have imagined. We need to drive it to truly show what this thing can do.
On the wheel, let's talk through just a few other items that are really important and quite cool in my opinion as well. We will talk through some of the stuff in greater detail as we get behind the wheel. But to keep it short and simple, let's talk about the truck's capability, because that's what's fun about having a little truck that you can park easily, drive around town, zip around town. But now we have one that's actually fun. The engineers weren't going for necessarily straight line fun. That's shown in the very standard normal performance figures. But when you get into a track setting, you go into Lobo mode, Austin. And what this is essentially, think track day fun in a Mustang or track mode in a Mustang. What the Lobo has is the ability to really turn up the performance around a corner. If you're going around a corner often and fast and putting the drivetrain into its paces, you need to keep things cool. What Ford did to do that is they took the 4K tow package equipment, so the radiator and the transmission cooler, they mounted it to the Lobo, but you don't get the 4K tow package capability. You actually get the least amount of capability out of any Maverick when it comes to both towing and payload. Towing, not necessarily true. I think it's the 2,000 pound towing capacity, but payload is less than any other Maverick, most likely because of the suspension, just over 1,000 pounds. So that's fuel, all your passengers and all your luggage, just over 1,000 pounds.
That is really, really low. There is something about the Lobo that I'm not the biggest fan of, and let me get into that.
Before you start dissing on the Lobo here, let's remember that this is just another blank canvas. All the Mavericks thus far have been a blank canvas. We have numerous Maverick videos on Performance on Wheels, lowered ones, raised ones, hybrid ones, 2-liter EcoBoost ones. All sorts of Maverick content is available on our channel, so make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. I say blank canvas, and I know this is true because in the first paragraph of the engineered notes that we received, it said, here is another trim line that is a blank canvas for our customers. So the intent is they're giving you a sport-tuned platform, but they're still expecting you to make it wild.
That is very true. And one of the things that I really don't like about this vehicle, it's the one that we're looking at today is base about $37,500.
That doesn't sound base.
However, it does have a sunroof on it, so you add an additional $1,000 for that. But what's super annoying, say you get a Ford Maverick XLT, right? You can get heated seats in a Maverick XLT. All you have to do is get the XLT luxury package. Heated seats, heated steering wheel, adds a few other nice things here and there. But what's really annoying about the Lobo is you can't just add heated seats and a heated steering wheel. You need to get the Lobo High package, which is an additional $5,000. So you're now turning this Maverick into a $42,000 Maverick.
Jeez.
Then you add the $1,000 sunroof, and you basically take tax and whatever into it. It's a $45,000 Maverick when we start talking about
Holy
things.
smokes.
I mean, that's insane. So to get heated seats in a Maverick Lobo is $45,000. Of course, that adds all types of different items as well. Like we get our trailer sway control, you get the highway driving assist, you get the B&O sound system.
All the fun stuff.
You get the spray and bed liner. You get all types of fun stuff like that. But it's super annoying to me that on the Lobo Low, the one we're looking at right now, this $37,845 Maverick, you cannot get heated seats and a heated steering wheel on. That's ridiculous to me, living in Minnesota.
Getting inside of the Lobo, there are some talking points that we need to go over because they're fun. Let's start with some of the fun design elements. Again, going to enthusiast, someone that has a passion for making things fun. The history of the interior designer went from designing shoes, had a history or a passion for the graffiti scene. So what you find in the Lobo when you look at the seats is you find electric lime stitching that goes alongside of grabber blue stitching. You will also find some of those grabber blue accents throughout the Lobo on the vents, on the door handles. What else is fun, you have to look a little closer, but when you look, you can totally see it. It almost looks like graffiti spray across the seats, and that's really cool. We're not done talking about the seats yet, because if you go up right behind where your shoulders would be, you have a Lobo logo right there, letting you know that you're in something special. 2025 is a talking point. If you think you're just going to go buy any old Maverick and lower it and make it cool and turn it into your own Lobo, because you have some really cool tech that all Mavericks come with now. You have the bigger screen that was introduced in 2025, and also that standard full digital dash instrument cluster.
All the technical stuff is now set aside. The interior set aside, the exterior set aside. The only thing left to do is get behind the wheel and drive this thing. We have a lot of behind the wheel time in these Ford Mavericks now, and I must admit, I was very nervous when we went to the 25 Ford Maverick launch and they introduced the Lobo. I honestly thought it was going to be a huge flop, no additional power, but they added torque vectoring. Torque vectoring can be a big deal when executed correctly, and I'm genuinely impressed that Ford managed to execute it correctly on this little pickup truck. It changes the personality that this car has so much greater than I ever thought that it would have. It's also super impressive how aggressive it is in its Lobo drive mode. Not just the torque vectoring, but they've managed to change up the feel of the brakes. The brake pedal almost feels like they take away some of the booster and it becomes more stiff. The throttle response is instantaneous. The steering is extremely on point. It feels like a very sporty little sport truck. They did such a good job of making it feel sporty, making it feel like you're connected behind the wheel. I actually got the back end to slide out just a hair there. Now, I don't know if you noticed that I just used those paddle shifters, and I've experienced paddle shifters in a lot of Ford products. They decided to throw them into some Escapes or in some Explorers, not the ST model of Explorer, and they're just pointless. Like, you press them and the thing doesn't shift for 3 seconds. There's a huge delay in that. This is instantaneous. I don't know if you guys are aware, but this is the same 8-speed that they use in all other Mavericks, but they took 1 gear out of it, now making it a 7-speed, and then they shortened the gear ratios. So it feels snappier for that reason, even though it has the same power as the other Mavericks. It has instant shifts. The steering is absolutely on point. Torque vectoring is a crazy thing that's hard to explain. You have to be here to feel it, but when you're on throttle, the car wants to turn faster. The back end starts to kick out. This Maverick will do big skids. I thought the whole marketing thing was a joke. They're in a big open parking lot. Of course it can do a big skid. Anything can. They did a really good job with this.
Peppy engine, good throttle response, practicality of a pickup truck, 4 doors, a bed in back. Just seems like a really good vehicle, and I think you're going to be underwhelmed if you think you're getting some drag racing machine here that's flying and going to win stoplight games. But if it comes to driving around and wanting to put a smile on your face, even an autocross course, it's a pretty fantastic platform. I stand by the statement that in the past 5 years, the Ford Maverick is one of the best, if not the best, vehicle to hit the market in that affordable, especially the small truck category.
I 100% agree with you, and I love Mavericks. I owned 3 of them, and bringing the Lobo into the lineup just made it even better. This is a really cool little truck. It very much so surprised me getting behind the wheel and driving this thing. I am not going to lie. I went into it thinking it's not going to be a whole lot different than a standard Maverick, but taking it out of sport mode and putting it into Lobo mode really transforms this thing. Not only in the sense that sport mode used to make the Maverick feel a little bit sportier, but Lobo mode takes it to a whole nother level. It's pushing this engine to its limits. It's always holding it at red line. It's downshifting really aggressively all the time. The brakes feel fantastic in Lobo mode. I'm not sure what they did there. And the torque vectoring is an experience that not many vehicles bring. And the fact that you can have this vehicle have the handling this thing does is really impressive. I can only imagine what a nice set of coilovers is going to do on these in the future. I genuinely think this is going to be a fantastic vehicle for driving them around town, having a blast. But I'm really struggling with the price point on the Lobos here. Like, this one seems super appealing. It would be super appealing to me if it had a few more tech features than it has. It's nice that we got blind spot assist, but here in the state of Minnesota, a $38,000 new vehicle should have heated seats, in my opinion. Yeah. That's ridiculous to me. A vehicle in this category, small SUV category. The fact that we need to go up to almost $45,000 to get that is just
blows your mind a little bit.
It kind of blows my mind a little bit. The Maverick came into the game at $19,999, and we are currently talking about a near $45,000 Maverick.
The times have changed. The Maverick is still fun. Like a vehicle you should think about, a vehicle you should purchase. Thank you for watching the video with us today on Performance on Wheels. We look forward to seeing you next time.